let's take a look at this Wrath of the Dragons deck as we are experimenting with this deck after recently playing a lot of Dragon Priest, where we have tried to make the deck faster at times. At time we've tried to tech in, like having an ooze and different strategies. Here in this version of the deck, as we go ahead and take a look at our mulligan here against Hunter, keeping Twilight Drake is probably still correct. Could be a mid-range Hunter that might have a slow starting hand, and it's worth keeping that. But in this version of the deck, some of the differences we'll see is that we do have Rathian in here, the legendary, which allows you to draw a card until you draw one that's not a dragon. We are running one Defender of Argus, one Twilight Drake, which you see here, as well as only one Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death, which some of the Dragon decks do have both of those, so that's how this deck makes room for some of the other cards. And then pretty much a lot of your other typical decks that you're now seeing in the Dragon Priest deck. So we'll see how this one does against Hunter. We'll know pretty quick, I would imagine, if this is going to go well or not. So this is a buff up your minions Hunter, as the Informant allows you to discover a Paladin, Hunter, or Warrior card. I actually should say it seems like this is going to be a buff your cards Hunter, although this first card is actually a Discover card, so it's hard to know for sure. And we've gone this far. We're going to go one more turn before we coin out Twilight Drake. What we could have done there is coined out Talon Priest and missed out on his +3 health, but the 3/4 body obviously would have been a good play in response to his 1/1 minion. But in this example, at least for now, we don't get punished, so let's go ahead and get this Twilight Drake out. It's got a nice 7 defense. And so if we can draw into a Defender of Argus or any of our other... Ooh, that's a really good deadly shot. Any of our other taunt minions, that will make us feel much better. So at this point, we do have to get something out. So we're going to play Northshire Cleric into Talon Priest. The other option there would have been play Northshire Cleric into Power Word Shield and hope that we drew one of our 2-drop minions, which is somewhat possible, but this seems a little safer. So he is gonna, looks like, trade all of his minions into this. It shows how strong card draw often is, or at least is perceived to be. Okay, now this is an interesting secret. If this is Freezing Trap, it's a great tempo play, but he gives us back our Talon Priest. So let's see what we have here. So that is going to be Bear Trap, which we thankfully can take care of. And we're looking pretty good now. Stabilize the board here against this Hunter. So now this seems to be a hodgepodge. Is this a N'Zoth Hunter? Is it, I mean, I really don't know. I actually don't know what deck this is. So we proceed. In these cases, I think the best thing to do is just try to play the best cards available to you and not worry too much about what your opponent's doing. Likely what we're going to do here is play Operative and then play Power Word Shield on our 5/4 to keep it out of range from the easy kill. I guess we'll take Flare. You know, we could use Secret against him, but Flare is a response to, he's already shown one secret. It's likely he'll have another. Reno would just take a long time. It's likely not going to activate before this match would be decided anyway. So we'll take Flare. Let's go ahead and pull this one out of range of being killed, and then we are actually going to just go face. We just didn't want him to be able to kill this with one attack. Now he has to use his bow as well to take out either one of these 2 minions. Or, obviously, removal from his hand. So now we have... Okay. Now we have a victory. So again, I would have loved to have seen more of this deck. It looks like it may be something that that he put together. If this deck is out there in the meta, I'm just not aware of it. But it would have been fun to see more of it. But so there is one match. Let's take a look at another one here. And of course, it is very hard to compare all of the Dragon Priest decks we've been playing. We do track wins and losses, but there's so many matchups. I would say the very first standard Dragon Priest deck we had, after a few games, it felt like it was going back down to maybe just a little bit above 50%. All right, so this is dangerous in the sense, I mean, we do want to keep these, but if we don't draw into another dragon, it's against Hunter. Just not sure if we would play it turn 1. We might still play it, and we do have another dragon, so we'll definitely play this turn 1, and then perhaps coin out Talon Priest if it survives. So the standard Dragon Priest felt like it was going back towards like a 50% win rate, a little more than 50% maybe. Then a second version of it we built was above 50%, but felt similar. Then we played a more aggressive Dragon Priest deck that had more about like a 70% win rate. You see more and more people playing the Reno Priest deck versus the Dragon and the Spell version. And with that, hold on, I need to look at this. So he plays this. I think we're still okay to play this. With the Reno Priest deck, we have not played it enough to get as comfortable with the deck, so did not do as well with that, more around the 50% win rate with that deck. Again, there was one that's based on dragons, one that's more based on control and spells. So just so many different decks. But all of them, for me at least, very fun. And we are going to go ahead and trade. And we're going to boost this one up. Pretty strong board, early board here against the Hunter. And on turn 3, the option is, do we want to go ahead and discover a dragon, or do we want to get the value of healing, which I think we probably will now that we see his play. We do want to go ahead and kill this. And there's a little bit of a decision here about which one to heal. The 2/6 or the 3/4. What's the Hunter likely to play? Neither one's out of range of kill commands. So I think we'll heal the higher attack value one and see what he comes up with. So now our Whelp is still in range of Eaglehorn Bow, but our Talon Priest is not. Okay, so it does look like we're looking at a boost your hand kind of deck here. I think we will go ahead and discover. Actually, let's heal first and see what we draw. Okay. Does that change anything? Because that means next turn we actually can brand discover on the same turn. However, I think it's more likely we're going to need the damage coming in, right? We can use brand later on. Let's go ahead and discover here. We have a lot of cards in hand, so Drake is somewhat tempting, but I think we're going to go operative here. And this will likely be where he trades here to stop our card draw, but we'll see. We saw in the last match just how, and I don't know if we ever finished that thought, but how powerful card draw appears to be. And I say appears because sometimes card draw is very strong, but if you use all of your resources to stop a play from someone getting card draw, you've put yourself in a position where you likely don't have a path to victory. So it is a balance of playing to the strengths of your deck versus seeing that if you just give your opponent unlimited card draw, that's probably not a path to victory. Now in this kind of matchup, this is where, so we do have a couple of priest decks that we've tried that include the Song Stealer card, which allows for you to silence a minion. Silence in this matchup obviously would be so strong. I think we're going to keep going face here. Not so good things happen when his... Oh, wow. When his minions die. This might be a good play. What's he going to do? If he kills... He might trade here and then use them to kill that, but then that leaves a lot of other things. Unleash the Hounds could be a good counterplay to whatever he's going to do next. The other thing is Leroy Jenkins could be a finisher for us. Let's play Unleash the Hounds. That seems like that could be... This does stop him from being able to... Yeah, let's do that. Let's trade there. So I guess we go ahead and Shadow Word Death this, right? And that will leave 3 mana, which we could go ahead and Hounds. We could go ahead and pop this as well, and then pretty much clean up his board. We can clean up his board the next turn anyway with our Dragon Potion. So there's also the temptation here just to go face, right? But let's clean it up. Because we got that Unleash the Hounds, let's go ahead and clean this up. What's the best way to do this? Don't actually know. We might need to... No, let's keep it alive. Alright, all things considered, pretty good play there. I think it worked out well. We still have the potion to clean up future messes, but I like that play. Zab, good morning. How are you doing today? So this is the best news we've had in a long time. Doppelganger is played without having any buff to the minion. I mean, this card, you know, it's 6/6 in stats for 5 mana. So even at its very base, it is okay. But this is the card that is like a finisher for this deck and other decks like it, because you're trying to buff it way up. Alright. We can come in and just take one out with this. It's not necessarily a play that I love. I think we'll do that though. And then put a taunt down that'll have... have 2 attacks, so that counters the Doppelganger pretty well. And again, we still have the Dragonfire Potion to fall back on. It is possible with some cards left that we'll still need it. I got confused there with the last Hunter matchup that we had, because I remember getting that flare. We actually don't have this. So he's going to use this to trade here so that he can take out our taunt. So this trade. Let's see. Trade. So we ought to go ahead and see. Actually, we don't need to do that, do we? Hold on. We kill that. Yeah. Or we can just kill that and trade here. So let's see what happens. Okay. So it could be snipe, right? Just hate to get that sniped. Hate to get that sniped. I don't really want any of my cards to get sniped. Let's put this down. We still have that dragon for just in case. Alright. Oh, it's not snipe. It's hidden cache. Okay. Alright. It's looking good. Good afternoon. I'm doing well. Finally at home from school and I saw it pop up. I'm doing really well, Zab. Had a late night with work, but was able to get a little bit of sleep and thought I would get up and play a little Hearthstone. So let's go ahead and get full value out of our discovers here. We'll take another. Ooh, we'll take Ysera, right? And another operative. Let's put a taunt down. And let's do some trading here. Let's see, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. We do want to trade one more time. Heal ourselves. This looks like a GG at this point with limited cards. And we have taunt up. Looks like he is going to play through it, which is admirable. Nope. Okay. Alright, so that is the Wrath of the Dragon deck. I always like to give credit. You know, I've seen this deck or one very similar on Hearthstone a couple days ago, but most recently I did see Tice streaming this. So just to give credit where credit is due, there are versions of this deck or similar decks on Hearthstone, and then also I've seen Tice playing it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I always appreciate it.